Hello there, my dear friends and fellas. How are you all doing? I hope you are doing just fine in this New Year Eve. Yes, I'm recording it in New Year's Eve, the 31st of December 2016. Today I want to share with you some little advice that you should have in mind while visiting the Holy Land. As you will probably guess, I'm an Israeli citizen. So, as a citizen, I decided to share with you with the help of my little trusty Lego figures, and this is due to the fact that I don't have any normal editing advice or a machine or whatever. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh, by the way, if you're hearing some weird noises and tickling noises, this is my heating elements here working because it is very cozy day today. So without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you need to have in mind while you visiting Israel is the fact that we have metal detecting devices and machines everywhere. And I mean it. The reason why we have them is because some security issues that we have around the country for about 70 years. Or, in other words, since this state was born, I guess. So, we have those little thingies in entrance of every shopping center, attraction, and all other stuff. Even in the central bus stations and train stations. You more likely come across one of those with a little thingy here on the left side for big luggage as soon as you exit the third terminal right after your landing in Israel. It's located usually on the left side of the exit, right in the entrance to the train station. So, if you're coming across this one, don't worry, you're not suspicious or anything, it's just a regular thing here in Israel. So just leave your luggage on the side for this little guy to check it and come across. If you don't have any fishy stuff there, you will be just fine. Furthermore, if you have nothing, you can, and there's a long line, you can just go to the little guy, say to him, hey, I don't have anything, can I pass? And he will look at you, and if he sees that you don't have anything on your belts or something, he will just pass you through, and you're good to go. Sometimes, if they don't have a luggage checker, there is another guy who checks the big luggages. So this is the first thing you need to have in mind. And don't worry, we're all used to it. Furthermore, there's a little joke in Israel that when we are outside of the state and coming across other countries, for example, when I was in Finland last year, and I was on the way to open my bag so the security guard can check it, he just smiled to me and said, no worries, just come in. So it was a pretty funny story. The next thing you should have in mind while visiting Israel is the fact that we have soldiers everywhere. And I mean it. And it's not for security, actually. It's just every family in Israel have a soldier in its family. For example, I was a soldier for not long ago. About it in another video. So, we have here three groups of soldiers. The warrior, the helper, and the worker. They're usually using motorbikes. So, the difference between them is that every day you will more likely come across this guy because he usually comes to his house every day and every night. And I say usually, not always, because there are some helpers and workers like me who didn't sleep in their house or don't sleep in their house, and they're staying in their bases. And every Sunday you will come across tons of them. So when you see a lot of group with huge amounts and buses stuck with them. Don't worry, there's not a war nearby, it's just tons of soldiers coming back from the weekend to their bases to do their jobs and their things that they usually do. What they do, well, I won't tell you. It's a little bit secretive. I just kidding. You can check on the IDF speaker page. They have a lot of stuff there, and they are better resource than me on which an profession in Israeli Defense Forces. The third thing you need to have in mind is the fact that Saturday, and not Sunday, Saturday is the national day off in Israel. So if you have some plans and things that you want to do while you are here, don't plan anything on Saturday. And why? Because all of the national parks and attractions are stocked in Israeli people who have their national day off and are visiting those places. It's crowded, loud, and you should not go in that particular day. If you do want to go there, you should consider go on Sundays. Well, there is almost empty, and the prices are pretty lower than on the weekend. And of course, if you have some plans, don't use the public transportation, because we are lacking on that in Saturday because of that law. So if you want to have a look, you should, it's my advice to you, just go on a walk around your hotel or whatever and have a look what is around you. You can walk for an hour, for 5 hours. It depends on you. And if you are staying in Saturday in Tel Aviv, you should have some restaurants and nice places to stay in. But if you are in another places, you should have a picnic or something in a local park. It's priceless, you know. Most of the national parks and just parks and plazas are free, so you can just go and sit there. The next thing that I want to share with you is the food, and or in particularly the restaurants in Israel. You see, like in the most Western countries such as USA, we have here restaurants that you're sitting next to a table, you're ordering your order, you're eating, and then you're paying. And like in America, we usually leave tip, a little amount of cash, that in Israel it's very common to leave 10% of the payment or the cost of your meal that you are ordering. For example, if you're ordering something that costs you about $25, you will leave $1. And why? Because if there's something that costs you, for example, 100 shekels, you will leave 10 shekels as tip. So I guess I was a little bit clear there. And our meals are huge meals. If you are ordering something, expect to have something that will preserve two people at tops, and you will be full. So if you are with someone, you can order 2 different meals and share between you. It's very common. That's what I do every Friday when I go with my parents and my family to a restaurant. Yeah, we have this little deal, but about it maybe in another video. The last topic for today will be about traffic, or more precisely, speed limits, traffic lights, and public transportation. I will start with the last. You see, in Israel, the traffic transportation system is in development. And while in some places, such as Tel Aviv and its region, the train is very, very popular to use and very efficient, in Jerusalem, the buses are pretty garbage. So if you are located in somewhere, you should consider traveling between big countrysides via buses, because they are pretty cheap and pretty fast, even if there are some stuff in the road. But if you are driving to some locations, such as national parks around the 19th road, the Eastern Coast Road, you should consider rent a car, because it will be much efficient in the long run. This is one. The next thing, we'll talk about the traffic lights. You see, there, if you are using a car, you would probably stay on a traffic light. It's legit. But as soon as the light turns yellow, right before it turns green, you would probably hear a horn behind you. And no, it's not considered for you just saying drive away already. No, it's a driver that behind you horning to the light itself, telling him why can't you turn green faster. You see, it's not against you, it's against the traffic light. Even if there's nobody in front of him, the Israeli person, including myself, will horn to the traffic light to saying, please turn green faster. So it's nothing against you. And the last thing is the speed limit. Although we have a huge fines and even arrest times for a couple of months for breaking the speed limits, there is a little bit of twist. It depends on where are you driving. You see, we have huge cliffs and along beach flats. So in the beach flats, of course, if the speed limit is 50 and you're driving 70, you will probably get a fine. But if you are in the mountain area, such as on your way to Jerusalem, if the speed limit is 50 and you are going down on the mountain or down the cliff, you can if the cops will not stop you if you are driving 60, because they understand that it's a little bit problematic on the cliff and on down road to save the balance of the speed limit. To close it down, usually there is a little bit of a limit that you can break, and it's usually between 5 and 15 kilometers above the number that here. And I have a little advice before we go. If you happen to stay at a hotel, feel free to take all of those things that you find at your bathroom. They are refilling it each day. It's a little advice from me. As you can see, there are 5 different hotels that I've been through from the past years, and as you can see, I'm usually taking those shampoos and shower gels and even those soaps, and you can reuse it on your other vacations. You can reuse the bottle itself or even the contents. It's just your ordinary shower equipment. And for that, if you know that you are about to stay in a hotel in Israel, you don't need to worry about taking your own shampoos and shower gels and all that good stuff. You can just leave it at home and use what your hotel have to offer. And furthermore, they are refilling each day, so you can safely put some on your luggage. Make sure you put it on your luggage and not your handbag, because in the airport on your way back you will have to put it out. So it's what's me for today. I hope you are having a great time with your family in this eve. If you're watching it after, well, I hope you had a great time, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye bye.